He's either telling the truth or he's a gifted actor. That's what may have crossed your mind after Alex Murdaugh took the unusual step of appearing on the stand in his own defense at his double murder trial. The disgraced South Carolina attorney is accused of killing his wife and son in 2021. He testified that he did not shoot them, but admitted to lying to investigators about when he last saw them alive. Scott MacFarlane has more details from inside the courtroom.
The whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Yes, ma'am.
Just moments after taking the stand, Alex Murdaugh, part of a family legal dynasty in South Carolina, denied being a murderer.
I didn't shoot my wife or my son anytime. Ever.
But he admitted lying to police about being at the crime scene, the family's dog kennel, just before the killings. He blamed paranoia and an opioid addiction.
You continued lying after that night, did you not?
But once I lied, I continued to lie. Yes, sir.
Why?
You know, oh, what a tangled web we weave.
His attorneys played Murdaugh's 911 call that night in June 2021.
Did they shoot themselves? Oh, no. Hell no.
He testified he'd attempted suicide.
I meant for him to shoot me so I'd be gone.
And acknowledged stealing money from his legal practice.
I was spending so much money on pills.
Prosecutors argue he killed to distract from his financial misdeeds. And late today, they sought to poke holes in Murdaugh's credibility.
You had to sit down and deal with these people and convince them that you were telling them the truth in order to steal this money, correct?
I can't say that.
All right.
I can say I did wrong, I stole money that wasn't mine, and I shouldn't have done it.
His surviving son testified Murdaugh was a loving father, and he was in the courtroom today sitting with other relatives, some of whom were noticeably emotional when Murdaugh was emotional on the stand. John, we are 5 weeks into this trial. We are nearing a conclusion as cross-examination continues here Friday.
Scott, what else stood out to you from this testimony? I mean, so many people are drawing their own conclusions, but what stood out to you from being there?
Two things, one specific, one more general. The specific thing is how his acknowledgement on the stand today that he is addicted or was addicted to pain pills was the underwriting to so much of what he was arguing, that because he was addicted to pain pills, he stole money from his legal firm. Because he was addicted to pain pills, he lied to police about his whereabouts the night of the murder, and that it impacted his behavior in noticeable ways at noticeable moments. That was a day-long thing. The more general thing, John, is we've been watching this trial, this marathon trial, for weeks. It has transfixed so much of this county, this state, and this country, even with incremental developments each day. Today was the climactic moment. Here he is, the defendant on the stand. That so rarely happens in criminal trials. It was a day-long affair, and cross-examination has just begun. It'll likely take up many hours tomorrow.
You can't get into the head of the jury in terms of whether this helped his case, but was the person on the stand significantly at odds from the person who had been characterized by the prosecution, which can sometimes affect a case like this?
Really good question. I can tell you one thing. In a word, I would describe the jury as engaged. Strong eye contact with the star witness of this trial, the defendant himself. Noticeable that they were paying rapt attention. You don't always see that in criminal trials, especially marathon long ones in which there might be a fatigue setting in among jurors. There was no indication of fatigue as we have reached this pivotal moment in this more than a month-long trial.
Scott MacFarlane in Waterboro, South Carolina. Thank you very much, Scott.